Hi everybody, welcome to Tamburitsa lesson on Bugarija. A Bugarija in the Tamburitsa family plays the rhythm. It plays also the chords. So it's doing two things. It's playing the chords of a song and it's determining the rhythm of a song. So what is rhythm? Rhythm is just the beat. If you were playing a straight 4, like that would be a slow dance, be 1, 2, 3, 4. If it was a tango, it would be. So your right hand is playing the rhythm, and there's lots of different rhythms. There's irregular rhythms like 15/16. I'm not going to go into all that today. Today is just to teach you how to play the chords. And the chords are played with your left hand. Now, how many chords are there on a Bugarija to play? Well, this is a 3-tone G, which means the open chord without grabbing anything with my left hand, the 3 strings, give me a G chord. Because there's 3 notes in a major chord. And so the 3 open strings give me the chord. And they are D, B, and G. Now, on this Bugarija, we have a wound D and a wire D. And that's called a booster in Tamburitsa land, the booster D. So they're an octave apart. The middle string is a B. On mine, it's a wound B because it gives a little deeper sound. And the last string is a G. But they are also an octave apart. So I have a wound G and a wire G. Wire, wound. And together, I get the 3 notes in a G chord, and I have a G chord open. So that's what a Bugarija is made out of. It's made out of a D, B, and a G string. So to play all the chords, you have to build upon these notes that are in the chord, and form all your other chords. Now, how many chords are there? Well, there's only 5 different chords that you're going to be playing: a major chord, a minor chord, a diminished chord, an augmented chord, and a 7th chord. Now the first 4 only have 3 notes in them, so you have no problem playing them on a 3-tone because there's only 3 notes in the chord. The 5th chord, the 7th chord, actually has 4 notes. So we can't really play 4 notes with this instrument, so what we do is we play 3 out of the 4 notes in the chord. And what happens is it's more dramatic when you play a 7th chord on a 3-tone because you can hear the change. So, all your other chords are full because there's 3 notes in a major chord, 3 notes in a minor chord, 3 notes in a diminished chord, 3 notes in an augmented chord. And the 7th chord has 4, so that means we need to get 3 out of the 4 notes to make the chord sound like a 7th chord. Now, there are other chords in music, but we're not going to go into that. Today we're just playing the 5 major types of chords. Now, for those that are guitar players and piano players, yes, there are chords that have more notes in them, but these are the chords with 95% of the time that you would play for a song. Okay? So, how do we do this? Let's start off with the major chords. Now, the Bugarija, there's 3 hand positions to grab the chords. 3 different ways of doing it. The first one is the most easiest. If I just hit all the strings at once, I have a G major chord. And I'm going to do the major chords first. So if I went up the scale, just like I do on any instrument, if it was a guitar or a piano, you know, the musical scale is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then back to A. Well, it's the same thing with the chords on Bugarija. If the open chord is G, if I bar all the strings on the 1st fret, I now have a G sharp or A flat. If I bar all the strings on the 2nd fret, I'm going up the scale, A, I get an A. If I just move up the scale and bar the next fret, which is 3rd fret, I got a B flat or an A sharp. 4th fret, B. 5th fret, C. 6th fret, bar, C sharp or D flat, D, E flat, E, F. And you can go as far as your instrument will reach. Sometimes you don't get the best chords up here. F sharp, and maybe I can get a G out of this. Not a very clear one, but a G. So it's impractical when you're playing an instrument to go all the way up and down all the time like this. So they have there's two other positions on this instrument that you can play chords with. So which chords do you play then for the major chords and the bar position? You would play the open G's, one. You would probably play the A. Probably play the B flat, the B, and you could play the C. But I wouldn't go past the 5th fret in the beginning. Just learn the chords that are below the 5th fret. So bar position would be G, G sharp, A, B flat, B, and C. So that'll give you 5 chords. And the major and the natural chords are G, A, B, and C. Alright, so that's one way, a bar position. So let's learn a second way. We'll call this diagonal. So a diagonal position is on your first string D, you're going to grab one string, and your second string B, you're going to grab another, and your third string G, you're going to grab another. And if you look at my hand, it's 1, 2, 3 in a diagonal straight down. Now if I grab these three, that's a D chord. So let's slide my fingers all the way down like this. So I'm going this way. So let's start out. If we already know that a bar position C is here. Well, the first diagonal chord you can play is if you grab the 2nd fret on your D string and the 1st fret on your B string and leave the G open, you have a C chord. Now, if I take this diagonal and I slide it up the instrument and now I grab the 1st fret, 2nd fret on the B, 3rd fret on the D, I have a C sharp or a D flat. If I just keep sliding that position up, now I have a D chord. And I keep moving up the instrument. Now I'm on the 5th fret of the D string, I'm on the 4th fret of the B string, and I'm on the 3rd fret of the G string, and that gives me an E flat. Now I can probably go up a little bit farther and still get a good sound. That would be an E. And that would be the 6th fret of your G or your D string, your 5th fret of your B string, and your 4th fret of your G string. And if I wanted to, I can slide one more and get an F. But you really want to stay below the 5th fret or around the 5th fret. So now I know the chords. By barring, I can go up the musical scale. If I start on G with my open chord, and then I bar the A, which is the 2nd fret all the way across, then I bar the 4th fret all the way across, that's B, and I bar the 5th fret all the way across, that's C. Then I switch to the diagonal, that's a D, and then I'll go up to E, and then there's F. A second way of doing this is I bar the G, bar the A, bar the B, go to the diagonal on the C, which means I don't have to grab anything on the 1st string, so I'm only using 2 fingers, which makes it probably the easiest chord where you have to use fingers. C, then diagonal D, diagonal E, diagonal F. And so actually I've just went through the entire scale, right? Going back to G again. So just with those 2 positions you can play all the chords. But there's a 3rd position, and I'll call it the crooked position, because I don't know what else to call it. Alright, what you do is you have to put your finger on the 3rd fret of the 1st string, the 1st fret of the B string, and the 2nd fret of the G string. And that's a major chord, and that major chord is F. Now if I work my way up the instrument, that would be F sharp, That would be G. So now I have two ways of playing the G chord. In the crooked position or open. So let's go back down the instrument where I started on the crooked position. That's F. Now, if I wanted to go a little bit farther down, so I would release my finger from the middle string. So I'm only grabbing the second fret on the D string, nothing on the B string, and the first fret on the G string. That's an E chord. So as I'm sliding higher on the scale, now I have to put my finger back down onto the first fret of the B string, and keeping in that crooked position, I have an F, I have an F sharp, I have a G, G sharp, A. So I have three ways of grabbing a chord, a major chord on a G Bugarija. The bar position, the diagonal, or the crooked. Now, how am I grabbing them with my left hand? What are my fingers doing? If you look at my fingers, I have calluses on the tops of my fingers, not on the bottoms, not on the sides. It's on the top. Well, for a bar, to get the clearest chord, now, can you use your thumb? Yes, if you want to, you can use it. I don't, because this neck is only 1.5 inches wide, and I can bar it with my fingers. Now, some of you might not have as strong as fingers as I have, and you could bar it this way. You can put your first finger on the second fret, your second finger on the second fret, your first finger on the middle string, and your thumb here, and you can bar a chord that way. I don't like to use my thumb. It's unnecessary. So what I do is I use my second finger on the first string, and I push down on the other two strings with my first finger, and I get a clear chord. Now, you don't want a chord that sounds like this. It means I'm not pressing down hard enough. And I see a lot of beginners where they don't get clear chords. Now, you can do this. If your finger's weak, I can put my thumb over my first finger and push down on it. Watch. Because if this finger's not strong enough, or you're just not used to it yet, you'll get this kind of sound. And I hear this all the time with beginners. So another way of doing this is I can push my thumb down on my finger to push it, give it more strength. But again, once you do get strength in your fingers, you should be able to play a bar chord, which is 2 fingers. But there's alternative ways of grabbing them. I don't like to use my thumb. I guess my thumb does go down on it sometimes without me even thinking. It's so close to it. So that's a bar position major chord. And remember, we've got the G, the A, the B, the C. Yeah, my thumb is hitting my pushing down. You can go up the scale to the D, but you want to stay below the 5th fret or around the 5th fret. Because when you're changing chords, you can't be going here, there, there. You want to keep your hand in a close position so it can change chords fast. All right, so that's a major chord. And that took me, 14 minutes to explain that. So let's look at the diagonal. How am I grabbing? The diagonal is just straight down, straight down, straight down. Now look at the bends in my fingers. If you can look at my knuckles, the knuckle bend is on the little part of my knuckle, not the big part of your knuckle, the little part. And you want the tops of your fingers to go push straight down. Now, this is going to tear apart your fingers in the beginning, and you're going to get calluses. And I even got a secondary callus from sliding my fingers too. But you want your fingers to come straight down to grab chords. Even on the bar positions, my knuckles are pushing straight down. Especially on the diagonal, everything is straight down. Now let's look at the third position, the crooked position. I'm using my third finger on the D string for the chord. I'm using my second finger on the G string, which is closest to me, and my third finger is in the middle. So your fingers like that, that's the position, crooked. So, look how I'm pressing straight down, how the bend in my knuckles is right here. So, everything is straight down push, so you get a clear chord. Now, when you change a chord from a major to a major, I just showed you the three positions. You're going to have to learn the chords by memory, by just practicing them. So here's an F. I go to a D, diagonal. Now, so I went from crooked to diagonal. I'll play an A, which is in a bar. So F, D, A, B, back to C, which is diagonal, but remember in this, the C is the easiest to play because you don't have to grab the first string. If I slide up, it's D flat, D. So you're going to have to learn how to switch these different positions from a diagonal to a crooked to a bar, and fast. Now this doesn't happen overnight. Actually, it takes a long time. I can't remember how long I sat in my bedroom and just switched two chords, F and C7. We haven't even got to the seventh chords yet. But your hand has to get used to changing these positions. And if you've never played a guitar or a Bugarija, your hand isn't going to be used to doing this. But you've only got 7 major chords, right? We're going up the scale. G, open, bar the A, bar the B. I'm going to use the diagonal for the C because it's really easy. Diagonal for the D. I'll use the diagonal for the E. I'll use the crooked for the F. And I'm back to G with the crooked. Or I could have played the open G. It doesn't matter. It's your choice. It's whatever you want. As long as you play the right chord, it doesn't matter which position you play it in. It's still a G chord. Alright, that's how you play major chords. I guess I'm going to have to do another video. Well, I'll show you a minor position. Alright, a minor, there's only 3 notes in a minor. Okay. You have an open chord G. What happens is one of the notes becomes flat, which means it goes lower. So if I have, I'll grab the A, I'll bar the A. What happens is one of the notes drops 1/2 step, which is actually 1 fret. And that's in music theory. I could explain it, but we're not going to do that today. I'm just going to tell you that one of the notes gets lower. So one way of playing a minor chord is putting your second finger on the second fret, or your third finger on the second fret, your first finger on the middle fret, or the middle string on the first fret, and your second finger on the second fret. So remember, your diagonal is like this, or your crooked is like this. So your minor is, you're just bringing that finger in, and now you've got a minor chord. So this is actually an F chord, and this is an A minor. So if I went up the scale on the minors, I can just keep going up. That would be A minor, B flat minor, B minor, C minor. And if I went the other way, I actually could play one more chord this way. If this is A minor, this would be A flat minor or G sharp minor. And I just release my finger in the middle. So this is one position to play minors. Here's another one. Alright, if I want to play a G minor, remember the crooked position. Here's the first one I showed you. Third finger on the first string, second finger on the G string, and first finger on the middle string. And I have an F chord. So a minor would be, remember, a minor is you're dropping one note. Your note is getting lower in sound by 1/2 step, or in Tom Brizzo land, 1 fret. So if this is F minor, one of the notes has to drop, and it's the A. So what happens is I'm actually moving this finger to the first fret. Now I'm going to change my hand position because it's hard for your first finger and third finger to stretch like this. So I'm going to use my little finger. So my little finger, to play a minor, another way of playing a minor, it's on the third fret of the first string of the D string, and the other two strings are across on the first fret. And this gives me an F minor. Now if I went this way, remember I have no more frets to grab, I can get an E minor. And you can use any finger you want, because you only have to grab one fret. Now I move this position up, this is a minor position, I got my F minor. If I keep going up the scale, I've got an F sharp minor, a G minor, a G sharp or an A flat minor, and I have an A minor. So I'm back to the A minor. So I've covered all my chords, because I first showed you a way to grab an A minor this way. So there's 2 positions to grab minors in. Well, actually 3. I showed you 2. So I guess we can call this the staggered position. The next one, I don't know, we'll just have to make a name up for the little finger position, if you're using your little finger. And there's a third one, and we'll call this the 2-finger position. Let's make up a name for it. Here's your D chord on the diagonal. What we're doing is we're going to drop one note again. So it happens to be the F sharp. So what I want is 2 fingers across the 3rd fret and 1 finger across the 2nd fret. And so I'm going on the D string, and on the B string I need to be on the 3rd fret, and on the G string I want to be on the 2nd fret. And that gives me a D minor. So here's your D major, diagonal, and I lose my finger and I just go across it, and I've got a minor. So again, if we just go up the scale, D minor, that can be D sharp minor, E flat minor, that can be E minor. Back down, D minor, and I can keep on going down. This is a C sharp minor or a D flat minor. And I've got one more chord I can grab in this position, and if I went this way, that would be C minor. I can use any fingers I want, as long as you get the first 2 strings pressed down on the 1st fret. So we have a major and minor positions, and I think that's enough for this lesson. I showed you 3 ways to grab the major chords. A bar, just going across. Remember your fingers, how to press. A diagonal for the major, this is a D. And we can go the other way. That's a C chord. And then we have the crooked position, and it's this one, and this one. So my first finger is on the middle string, my second finger is on the G string, and my 3rd finger is on the D. And I can go the other way. And that's an E. So I've got 3 ways to grab the major, and 3 ways to grab the minor. The minor, here's the first one, where it's a 2nd fret, 1st fret, and 2nd fret. So my 3rd finger is on the 2nd fret of the D string, my first finger is on the 1st fret of the B string, and my middle finger, or my 2nd finger, is on the 2nd fret of the G string. and then I can grab it with the little finger minors. And the little finger minors are, you've got to have one finger up here and the other two fingers crossing the other two strings, and I can just slide down. And then the third one is, I guess I'll call it the two finger minor, where you've got two fingers across the first two strings and one finger, the remaining finger, or you could use your thumb, I guess. I never use it. I'm just barring across and pressing these two, and I've got a D minor there. I can go down, C minor, E flat minor, E minor, F minor. So there's more than one way of playing the same chord. Remember, I just showed you, here's a minor, F minor. I can go up here and play an F minor by grabbing a different position. So there's three ways of grabbing major chords, or three ways of grabbing minor chords. And I think that's enough because this is going to be a very long video. I hope this helped you learn how to finger position. Now what's really important, again, is how are you pressing on these frets? And I know in the beginning your fingers don't have any calluses, but you're going to need to learn how to press to get a clear chord, and you're going to have to practice changing these chords. And so you just take any chords you want and try all three positions for different chords, like the diagonal, to the crooked, to the bar, back to the diagonal, back to the crooked, to a minor. And then, you know, you just have to just try changing your finger positions. So these are majors and minors on a G Bugarija. I hope this helps. This is for my Bugarija players. I'll make another video for the augmented and diminished chords, and you're going to like that because there's only a few positions for all the chords. It just so happens that you can play one chord or three chords in one position, just the way it works out with diminished and augmented in music. So they're much easier. So the hardest chords are probably your two major chords and your sevenths, which we haven't gotten to yet. So this is how to play on a G Bugarija, the major and the minor chords. There's three positions for each one. Okay, good luck.